star of, well, so many things. But let's start with Doctor Who, where he played Captain Jack, the man who could not die.
Doctor,
Captain.
good to see you.
And you? Same as ever. Although, have you had work done?
You can talk.
Oh, yes, the face. Regeneration. How did you know this was me?
The police box kind of gives it away. I've been following you for a long time. You abandoned me.
Did I? Busy life, moving on.
Yes, David Tennant is the Doctor. John Barrowman is Captain Jack. The spin-off series Torchwood, where Captain Jack Harkness leads an 8 team of experts who investigate unexplained extraterrestrial incidents on Earth.
We hunt aliens.
I'm here to help guide you through the Torchwood archive.
Here we are, the Central Memory Core.
Open object 1.
Above the atmosphere, beyond the stars. Beyond the stars. Every century is when everything changes.
You'll never be ready.
Never be ready.
And the show that I have been binge watching and possibly responsible for neglecting my family is Arrow, where John Barrowman plays supervillain Malcolm Merlin.
Oliver went there because of you, because of what you did to Thea. You made her a target for the League so he would have to challenge Roz just to save her. You killed him.
You are right. And I will live with that guilt for the rest of my days. I am truly sorry. I can see how much you loved him.
Save it, Merlin. You're enjoying this.
Oh, I think he loves being a supervillain. Hello, John Barrowman.
Hello.
How good is Arrow? But I'm only up to series 5.
Oh,
And
okay.
How far?
Don't spoiler alert.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I won't. But
All right.
but where are you up to? Where is the series up
The
to?
series has just finished season 6.
Oh, okay. Right. Now, I know this is hard to believe, but there will be a few people wondering what Arrow is all about.
Yes.
And I can give a quick synopsis.
Oh, I'm
rundown.
intrigued to hear this.
Oh, no. Well, okay. So there's this playboy called Oliver Queen. He's stuck on an island for a long time, and he learns a stack of skills. He comes back, and he's really good at shooting arrows.
Correct.
He has a really rich family. They're a little bit mixed up.
Yep.
His sister turns out to be your daughter.
Correct.
That's not too much of a spoiler because that's revealed pretty early in the
Correct.
series. Her name is Thea, and you
Yep.
have a really complicated
We
relationship
have
with
the
her.
most dysfunctional father-daughter relationship ever.
Yes. And then it just gets too complicated. I can't even go there.
That's the
Is
basis.
that enough?
That's the basis that you need to know. Yeah, but then from there it becomes about the kind of clashing of Oliver, who is the vigilante or the hero, and then Merlin, who is the anti-hero. But I think Merlin is actually the hero also. That's the way I like to look
You
at
do.
it.
You'd love to be that.
Well, but I think he is. See, I think Merlin is the hero, and Merlin is the one then, because everything that Oliver does is exactly the same as what Malcolm does, except Oliver gets the, glory and the accolades for doing it, and Malcolm gets told he's a bad man, he's enjoying this. But, you've got to have a bad guy in a show.
Yeah, you
really
you
do.
really
And I think
do.
he's one of the best villains in the kind of DC kind of world. And if you disagree with me, then shut up.
Mate,
I don't care.
I so would not mess with Merlin. That is for sure. I just want to talk about, and this might get a few more people in if they've never seen it, because it's
Okay.
showing here in Australia on Netflix.
Yes.
Up to series 5.
Correct.
Of which I will not give any spoilers away. But there's a lot of fit people on this show.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is a thing which I've never seen because I had never really watched any
Salmon
of that.
ladder.
A salmon ladder.
Yeah. It's not a ladder where you eat salmon. It's
Which is a shame.
Yeah, it's which is what I like about the salmon ladder. In Doctor Who and Torchwood in my years past, I was the muscle and the buff, and now I'm the dad. So it's other people's jobs to do that, and I quietly sit eating the salmon while they're doing the exercises up the salmon ladder, and I just kind of sit and enjoy it. It's there's a lot of fit people in it. If you like watching a lot of fit people, shirtless people, which I enjoy. It's and male shirtless people, what we're talking about. It's amazing. It's funny. It just reminds me of a thing. We were on the beach the other day, and one of the Australian football teams, I want to say, they just arrived like at the beach, and my husband and I and Kelsey, my assistant, who also we all work works with us. Anyway, we're all sitting on the beach, and these guys just literally walked on the beach, took all their clothes off, and had their I'll just call them their Aussie bum Speedos on.
Yes.
And I lost my husband and Kelsey for about 20 minutes because they went over and started taking, like little secretive selfies with all the boys behind them. And whereas we would walk into the surf and get pummeled by the surf and like splashing everywhere, they were walking in just going, yeah, jumping up and down. It was the most amazing. I love Australia.
Do you?
I do.
And the Gold Coast especially. There's a lot of fit people on the Gold Coast with our squeaky sand.
Your squeaky sand gives me what I call the heebie-jeebies when I walk on it. And even thinking about it makes my skin kind of go, ooh, because it squeaks.
And it's different from the sand back home.
It's different from the sand in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Your sand is much cleaner. And I love the fact that you have these tractors that go out at like 2 or 3 in the morning and scrape the sand.
Does that not happen where you come from?
No.
No? Okay.
Are you kidding? You wear shoes when you go in the water where we come from.
and the sand is softer.
The sand is much softer. It's, I was told that it's, 54 million years or something of the coral reefs that have depleted, that we have that beautiful sand. And, ironically, my husband and I went and looked at do you call them condos or flats?
Apartments. High rises.
Yeah, we went and looked at one the other day.
Oh, did you? Oh.
That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, and North's
Huh?
Gold Coast? What suburb?
I couldn't tell you what suburb, but it's a new building that they're just building right on the beachfront. It's not up by the big iconic building.
Right, like Q1.
Yeah.
The big top. Have you been to the top of Q1?
No, it's like $35 to get up there. That's a ripoff.
Oh, right.
I'm not paying that to go up an elevator.
Oh, you can't even just say, do you not know who I am?
No, well, even so, I feel that if I'm going up there, I should be treated like everybody else.
Well, there you go.
So if they're paying, I have to pay, but I'm not going to pay $35 to go up the top of a building.
You're just going to
I go look at an apartment and I do it that way and you get free, right?
Well, depends if you buy the apartment.
Yeah, you
Maybe
never know.
Not so free.
You never know.
Hey, it's funny you talk about the togs that the footy players were wearing.
You call them togs?
No, well, yes, but no. I'm going to go one step further because you know more about the lingo than you realise.
Really?
Have a listen to this.
John, I said, if I'm lucky enough to be at your 50th birthday party, I'll come out with budgie smugglers.
No, smugglers.
Smugglers.
Budgie smugglers.
It's all new to him. Don't worry, Stephen. I'll talk you through it.
Okay. Now, that's a lot of noise, and it's probably hard to sort of make out what's happening there. But
that was on Loose Women. Stephen Amell and myself, I took him on there as my guest, as I was a guest, to introduce him to the ladies in the UK. And we started talking about budgie smugglers because Stephen said that when I first started Arrow, when I turned 50, he would appear at my birthday in Budgie Smugglers,
and for
Gold
those who
ones.
don't know Stephen Amell, he's very buff.
He's buff and he plays Oliver on Arrow. And on my birthday, walking down the hallway at some point, all of a sudden was Stephen Amell and my friend Keith Jack from the UK, and they were both wearing Gold LeMay Budgie Smugglers, and I thought Christmas had come.
It was so cute that they call them budgie snugglers.
Snugglers.
But it's budgie smugglers.
Smugglers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, even our prime ministers wear budgie smugglers.
Do they?
They do. They have. Not
I
permanently.
I want to see pictures.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
Good.
That's fine.
By the way, if you follow me on social media, get on and send me the pictures of you in your budgie smugglers or your husbands, your boyfriends, whatever, because I really appreciate the style of Australia.
You realise the biggest geek in this office, Damien Larkins, is actually going, okay, yep.
He's doing it right now. He's good. The funny thing is, I was then sitting on the beach, just having a nice little. I can't remember what I was doing. I was sunning, just sitting, contemplating the world, and all of a sudden my phone started going bleep, beep, beep, and it was Kelsey and Scott sending me the pictures as they were taking them of the guys showering. And I'm like, this is, I love this. It's unbelievable.
Well, you have to move to the Gold Coast. There's so much more here.
That's why we're looking at an apartment.
Thank you. This is 91.7 ABC Gold Coast. You've heard this first. John Barrowman could be moving to the Gold Coast, which would make everyone in this building very, very happy, especially Damien Larkins.
That's not me. That's our former Prime Minister.
Is that your
former Prime Minister?
That's the one that I didn't like.
Is that Tony Abbott?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. No, of course. Yeah. Good choice, Damien. Good choice.
There you go. Okay, Tony. You look gayer than everybody else. There you go. And he'll love that, won't he? Apparently.
I'm just writing out our apologies as we speak now.
Yes, please. Apologies to all of those who I just offended.
Do you know the last time that you put out a call out for something, and so this is why I'm expecting lots of budgie smuggler photos coming your way. It was for Tim Tams.
Yes,
and people just sent you Tim Tams.
They did. In fact, we did a con and convention in New Zealand, and also we did one in Melbourne recently. Melbourne kind of let me down on the Tim Tam situation there. I'm just saying Melbourne, okay? But I love Melbourne. However, in New Zealand, they completely built a whole throne out of Tim Tams.
For you.
For me. Now, what we do in those situations, we've had huge success with the Tim Tams and other conventions in Australia, in Sydney, and the first time we went to Melbourne. So what we do, I went home once with 3 suitcases full of Tim Tams. I didn't, and apparently I'm not supposed to take that much chocolate out of the country, but I did. Sorry.
And did
Please
you build a tower?
I built a Jenga tower out of Tim Tams, and then I got the fans up on stage, and we did after the convention one night, we had a special thing, and we played in pajamas, because I love Peter Alexander pajamas, and I went, we all had our gear on, and we played Tim Tam Jenga, and it was a great night. It was totally
wonderful.
great.
Do you actually like the chocolate biscuits?
I do. Funny enough, my mother-in-law, Sheila, was best friends with the guy who started Tim Tam's daughter in Sydney, because my mother-in-law is from Sydney.
Yeah, right.
So we have connections in Australia.
You certainly do.
I do.
And soon to be calling the Gold Coast home, not starting any rumours or anything.
So the Tim Tam situation, rather than me carrying them all home anymore, what we do is we accept them, graciously love them, eat the ones we want, and then what we do is we sell the Tim Tams back to my fan family, wherever the convention is, for $10, and then we take that money and we donate it to an LGBTQ charity within the community and the area where we're having the convention. So it's a kind of a way that it's Arnotts who make them, correct?
Yes.
They don't really know, but they're giving back to the community.
They don't know, and it's a really creative thing that you started. I
So
really
there you go.
like that. So when you're at a convention, I know you love conventions, and I know you love the passion of fans, and some of my nerd network have seen you work your magic, and there were some women who were really shy. They said they saw you. In fact, one of them might have been living with a disability, and you went over and you sat between them and just to make them feel welcome. How big of a deal is it that when people come to you because they love your work and they love you and they love what you stand for, how important is it for you to give back in your own special way, like one-on-one?
Well, it's really important. And the fact is that I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for those fans. So no matter if you're living with a disability, if you are living what is assumed as a regular life, or whether you're slightly on the spectrum or you're, a little bit silly or whatever, I don't care. I accept you for who you are and what you are. And that's just because perhaps it's for me growing up as a young gay man and coming out in a time when it wasn't really seen to be correct as coming out, particularly in my career, in my life. I kind of see that I just accept people for who they are. And I don't have a problem going over to people. I don't have a problem talking to anyone. I know some people are afraid to go and talk to certain people. When I meet someone who might be in a wheelchair or have a severe disability, and I apologize if I'm getting the words incorrect that you might use here in Australia because they're different all over the world, I will ask them why they're in the chair or why they're on a crutch or why they have a limp, because I want to know. I want to know people's stories, and I don't think we should be afraid to ask people about their situation or why they're in that situation, because to be honest with you, they'll tell you. They want to talk about it. They want to see themselves as being like everybody else, because we all have problems and issues, and it's great when we can sit and talk and share them.
John Barrowman is my guest. He's in town on the Gold Coast for Supernova on 91.7 ABC Gold Coast. Oh, also Bum Speedos, also known as budgie smugglers. Thank you for that piece of intel. I've just got on my screen. I don't know
Bum
where that's
what?
from. Bum Speedos.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, known as budgie smugglers as well. So what is the most common thing fans ask you at a convention like Supernova?
When I do my panels, which are extremely different than everybody else's panels, they're more like a show, and I kind of dress up in a cosplay that emulates something that I'm a fan of or a show I've been in. So you'll be expecting something this weekend. The most general question, one is, who's your favorite doctor? Number 2 is, what's your favorite episode? And number 3, are there any funny things that have happened on set? Now, I love those questions, but I always think when I get them that I'm kind of thinking, you have an opportunity here to ask me anything you want, and you know that I am an open book. I will answer any question. And if I don't want to answer it, I'll find a way to give you somewhat of an answer, but to skirt around it. So why are you asking me the most obvious thing in the world when you can look that question up online?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So what is the best non-predictable question you have ever received?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't say there is a best one yet, because I've, get things when people get up and they ask me about cars, because I'm a I don't know what you call guys who we call them gearheads. Yeah. So I'm a bit of a gearhead, and every car I've gotten into or driver we've had so far in Australia, the first thing, Kelsey's sitting here in the background. What's the car that I always start talking about? Do you remember the name? The Holden.
The Holden. Yeah.
I love Holdens. I love the Utes.
Yeah.
If I could. And we could drive it on the proper side of the, the side of the road we drive on.
Different.
I would ship a Holden over to the U.S. I've actually even thought about shipping one to the U.K. because it's the same side of the road.
Yeah, it is indeed.
I love them.
Yeah, what do you love about them?
I just love the kind of nostalgia of them, because when I grew up in the States in the 70s, we had El Caminos, and they were a little bit square, but I love the kind of, this is my boy side coming out, the kind of aggressive side of when you drive them and you hear them, and it's just, and the other thing, I'm sorry,
that was brilliant.
I'm going like off on the gay tangent here now.
No, please do.
I love that your construction workers wear shorts.
Yes, they do.
Shorts and boots, and it's just like glorious to stand on the street to watch them all coming out of a building. I will stand and just say, hey. And then they all get in their Holdens and go, oh my gosh, that's like just bliss.
That's just fantastic. I've never seen a Holden impersonation like that before.
That's what they sound like. But anyway, if anyone knows of an orange one or a lime green or a deep blue, but it's got to have all the gear on it, it's got to be a very recent one. And let's talk. I might do a deal.
Yeah,
we might need
amazing.
that to keep up at our apartment here.
Yeah,
in,
wow.
Gold
Stop
Coast.
teasing us on the fact that you may be seen regularly around the Gold Coast. This is amazing stuff. John Barrowman, it's been fantastic. It's been
Thank
so
you.
good. I'm sure I had. Oh yeah, one
You
question.
probably had. Yeah.
No, one question, and that is obviously DC Universe. That's
Yes.
you, Arrow. If you did make the switch to Marvel, who would you want to be?
Well, most everybody in Marvel has already been, taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
There is a couple of characters actually that go back. I don't want to give it away because I don't want anyone to steal the idea, but there's a couple of characters that are kind of a little more flamboyant in the lore of Marvel, and I think we need a superhero who is gender non-specific, if I can say that. And I know there are ones out there, but I need, ones that are more blatantly like Captain Jack, I think, and kind of don't care who it is. Anybody with a postcode, basically.
Yeah, right. John Barrowman.
You don't know how to answer that one, do you? I have just flummoxed her.
He has. It's been John Barrowman. That's all I'm going to say. Love Arrow.
Come and see us at the weekend.
Make sure you do that. Supernova, Gold Coast.
It's a great family day out. You'll have a lot of fun, and it's great to be amongst people who think alike, are acting alike, and also love the same things.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
ABC Gold Coast.
I'm going to go get my budgie smugglers
you
on
gotta
now.
do that. Jump in your Holden. Don't forget your fluffy dice.
Tell me.
Star of, so many things. But let's start with Dr.